15 grand.
Is it loaded?
Yes, sir.
Well, then I'll pay zip. What's wrong with you?
Took your freaking time, didn't you?
Cool your jets.
In a world torn apart by war between humans and robots, one boy's extraordinary mind holds the key to peace. But what happens when the line between human and machine blurs? Follow Michelle's desperate journey to find her missing brother Christopher, a boy trapped inside a robotic body while a ruthless warlord hunts them down. This is a story of survival, betrayal, and the fight for humanity's future. If you're ready to dive into this thrilling tale, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss what happens next. 1990, young genius Christopher stuns his teachers by solving a test in hours that took Einstein days. His sister Michelle suggests he skip grades and go to college early, but he's unsure. Outside school, a soldier scolds him for wearing a t-shirt with Cosmo, a cartoon robot, warning that war is coming. Cosmo is the hero of a popular show, but due to rising anti-robot sentiment, the show is cancelled. Robots, originally developed by Walt Disney in 1955 for theme parks, became the global workforce. They worked tirelessly for years until they rebelled, demanding rights. Protests, led by Mr. Peanut, erupt worldwide. Negotiations fail, and war breaks out. Owning a robot becomes treason. The war favors robots. They don't eat, sleep, or blink. Sergeant John explains humanity's losses on TV. For 2 years, humans keep fighting and keep losing. Hope returns when Ethan, founder of Center Technologies, creates the Neurocaster, a device linking human minds to drones. With it, humans fight on equal footing and win in just 2 weeks. Colonel Bradbury becomes a war hero. Peanut surrenders to Clinton and Ethan, and 6,000 robots are imprisoned in the exclusion zone. Later, Ethan releases a home version of the Neurocaster, allowing people to split their minds working and relaxing simultaneously. By 1994, Michelle lives in foster care. She tries to remove her ankle monitor but hides her tools when Ted, her foster parent, arrives via Neurocaster. He warns her not to run away like before. Michelle accuses him of hoarding illegal tech from the exclusion zone. At school, her teacher also uses a Neurocaster. Students must wear helmets, but Michelle refuses and is sent to the principal. The woman assumes Michelle lost her family in the war. Michelle corrects her it was a car crash. The principal tells Michelle that Neurotherapy could help her forget her pain for a few hours. Reluctantly, Michelle recalls a memory of playing at the beach with her brother, Christopher, where he had a panic attack, and she comforted him. Despite this, Michelle still refuses to wear the Neurocaster helmet and goes home. That night, Michelle dreams of the car accident that killed her family. She remembers waking up in the hospital with a doctor watching her, but their faces are a blur. In the present, she's startled awake by a noise outside. Looking out the window, she sees a shadow moving in the yard. Grabbing a flashlight, she steps outside. She spots an eye reflection in a bottle just before a table falls, scaring her. She rushes back inside to warn Ted, but he's immersed in the Neurocaster and doesn't respond. When the intruder breaks in, Michelle hides under her bed only for a robot with Cosmo's face to lift the bed and look at her. Panicked, Michelle backs into a corner. The robot gestures to show he's looking for her. Unable to speak, he opens his head so she can repair his voice circuit, but he only has a few pre-recorded phrases. He picks up a photo of Michelle and Christopher, pointing between himself and the image implying he is Christopher. Michelle doesn't believe him and yanks the photo away, causing him to crash into the shelves. The noise wakes Ted, who finds Cosmo in Michelle's room and immediately blames her. Their argument escalates until Ted shoves Michelle into the robot. Cosmo then makes a familiar gesture, something Christopher used to do, convincing Michelle that his story is true. Cosmo shoves Ted against the wall. Ted, enraged, grabs a golf club and attacks. Cosmo snaps the club and pushes him again, causing Ted to bleed. As Ted rushes to call 911, Michelle tases him unconscious. She and Cosmo steal Ted's car, and Cosmo easily removes her ankle monitor. Michelle doesn't know how to drive, but manages to escape even as Ted chases them using his Neurocaster. The car eventually throws him off, allowing them to get away. By morning, the car breaks down from a flat tire. The spare is broken too. Frustrated, Michelle questions Cosmo. He explains, through gestures, that Christopher is alive and remotely controlling him. When she asks how to find her brother, Cosmo points to the central logo on a nearby sign. Using a Dr. Pepper can and gestures, Cosmo hints at a doctor with glasses. Michelle recalls waking up in the hospital after the accident, now remembering Dr. Amherst, who told her Christopher had died. Realizing that was a lie, Michelle checks the trunk and finds a box addressed to a P.O. box in New Mexico, possibly away into the exclusion zone, where Cosmo pointed to on a map. The pair hop on a train for part of the journey, finishing the rest on foot. At sunset, Michelle stops for food. and, upon exiting the store, spots a truck. She hides with Cosmo in an alley. The truck's driver turns out to be John, who opens the P.O. box and collects a stack of cash. A customer arrives using a Neurocaster to buy a gun, but suddenly turns it on John. Before he can fire, a robot named Herman disables the attacker with an electric shock. Herman and John start stripping the disabled machine for parts, distracted. Michelle and Cosmo sneak into the back of the truck. Meanwhile, Bradbury discovers Ted's abandoned car. The next day, John's truck reaches an old mine near the edge of the exclusion zone. John and Herman carry their latest haul inside, unaware that Michelle and Cosmo are hiding inside a box. As John and Herman argue over missing cables, Michelle tries to sneak away, but Cosmo accidentally activates a singing fish, exposing them. Surrounded, Michelle pleads for a guide into the exclusion zone, but John thinks she's delusional. Suddenly, the elevator activates. Suspecting someone followed them, they all hide. When the elevator returns, it's Bradbury. He declares the mine under the control of the Robot Deactivation Task Force and orders John and Michelle to surrender. John tries to claim Michelle is his sister, but Bradbury recognizes her and announces she's under arrest. Herman attempts to attack with his electric beam, but Bradbury spots him and uses John as a shield, then opens fire, tearing up the room as everyone scrambles to hide. Bradbury corners the robots. Michelle tries to help, hitting his arm with a fire extinguisher, but he grabs it and destroys it. As smoke fills the room, Michelle claps her hands to shut off the lights. Suddenly, the singing fish decorations go off again, distracting Bradbury. John seizes the chance and shoots, but the bullets bounce off the Neurocaster body. Bradbury quickly destroys the gun and grabs John by the neck. To save John, Michelle and Cosmo surrender. Bradbury throws John aside and advances, declaring Cosmo marked for deactivation. Just then, Herman drops a crane claw on Bradbury, pinning him. The group jumps into a mining cart to escape, but John fumbles with the keys, giving Bradbury time to break free. He shoots at the cart and Cosmo, but Herman stops him, sparking a fight between the two robots. Michelle finds a bulldozer and pins Bradbury to the wall. Falling rocks bury him as the mine begins collapsing. The group flees. Watching his home crumble, John lashes out at Michelle, blaming her. Strange noises interrupt, and the group hides in a cave, watching scavenger robots picking parts from the wreckage. John sneaks out, destroys one, and opens his hidden garage. Inside is a van and a giant mech suit for Herman. After some arguing, Michelle convinces John to help. Soon, the group sets off Michelle, Cosmo, and John in the van, carried by Herman in the mech, heading into the exclusion zone. Along the way, Michelle sees the ground littered with destroyed robots. John shares how he met Herman during the war. After a battle loss, John's squad was captured, but Herman, moved by John's tears, spared him. Later, when Sentry drones ignored John's pleas that Herman was peaceful, they fled together to survive. Meanwhile, Ethan, using his Neurocaster to relive a memory of his late mother, faces malfunctions. Furious, he learns from his scientists that Christopher has escaped. If not found by Friday, the entire company could collapse. Ethan meets with Bradbury in the virtual world and strikes a deal. Instead of turning Cosmo in, Bradbury should deliver him to Sentry. Back in the desert, the group debates entering an abandoned mall for supplies. Suddenly, a robot hurls a fridge, breaking the van's windshield. Herman tries to flee, but the robot knocks him down. The van flips and the group is surrounded. They're captured and taken into the mall, home to a hidden society of robots, from entertainers to household appliances. A giant robot outside peers through the window at the group. Moments later, Mr. Peanut arrives and apologizes they were mistaken for dangerous scavengers. After hearing Michelle's story, Peanut reveals that Dr. Amherst once visited, mentioning he has a Ph.D. in human-machine interaction, but Peanut kicked him out and doesn't know his current location. Michelle wants to continue the search immediately, but John warns it's too dangerous at night. She agrees to wait until morning. Later, in private, Michelle reflects on her last Christmas with Christopher, remembering how distant he became after leaving for college. Overcome with emotion, she begins to cry. Cosmo comforts her by playing the cartoon they loved as kids. One by one, other robots gather to watch. After everyone falls asleep, a male robot arrives asking for Christopher. Cosmo raises his hand, and the robot hands him a postcard from Amherst, with an address and a note saying Amherst will be waiting there. The address lies in scavenger territory, so they'll need a plan. Peanut overhears and introduces them to a training robot that malfunctions while explaining how to fight scavengers. John doubts it, but the robot impresses by shooting baseballs at high speed. The next morning, Bradbury reaches the exclusion zone and Juan watches the Hibiwen watch from afar, seeing the group leave in Peanut's car. After a full day of driving, they arrive at an abandoned amusement park, the postcard's location. Michelle spots lights in an attraction, signaling someone's there. Suddenly, a huge clown head activates and creepy robots appear, growling and attacking. The group runs, shooting back. Peanut tries to communicate, but the robots only growl. They reach the lit building, but the doors are fake. The robots close in, and the group is trapped. Suddenly, lights turn on, music plays, and fire bursts from statues, scaring the robots back. A trap door opens beneath them, sliding them into a hidden tunnel. In an underground room, they find Amherst, excited to see the postcard. Michelle demands info on Christopher, and Amherst reveals he's at Centra's labs in Seattle. After the accident, Christopher underwent tests and an MRI revealed he was the key to winning the war. Amherst allowed Sentry to take him and lied to Michelle about his death. Amherst activates a computer showing an experiment video. Christopher was comatose, so they connected his brain to the Neurocaster network to keep him alive. Amherst regrets it but insists it was necessary to save the world, noting Christopher would have otherwise died in bed. 13 months later, Christopher woke up. Amherst wanted to disconnect him, but Ethan threatened to kill Amherst if he did. Amherst fled but secretly created a small connection between Christopher and the outside world, giving him the mole's location to find a new family among robots. Michelle protests Christopher already had a family. John punches Amherst for her. Suddenly, Bradbury arrives, shoots open the tunnel entrance, and slides down. The room is empty. The lights go out, and Peanut tackles Bradbury, smashing him into an electrical grid. Bradbury's Neurocaster shorts out briefly, dropping his gun, but he recovers and pushes Peanut off. A fight breaks out. Peanut reveals a hidden sword in his cane, but Bradbury overpowers him. The group tries to sneak out but freezes when soldier Neurocasters appear, surrounding them and ordering surrender. The training robot shoots balls with such force that it breaks some soldiers' helmets. Watching via cameras, Ethan orders his troops to capture Cosmo, killing others if needed. Cosmo distracts a soldier with a ball, and Michelle shoots paint at him, causing his propeller to fail and crash. When a second soldier tries to capture Michelle, Amherst shoots him down, revealing he knows an escape route. John and the robots fight off the remaining squad with improvised weapons. Back underground, Bradbury rips off Peanut's hat, blaming him for breaking the treaty and its consequences. Soldiers arrive at the mall, and Bradbury fires wildly at attractions. Amherst urges his friends to flee and confronts Bradbury, daring him to shoot. Bradbury hesitates to kill a human, but Ethan takes over a Neurocaster and shoots Amherst. He falls on debris and dies, forcing Bradbury to rethink his morals. Michelle and Cosmo try to escape but are surrounded. Soldiers capture Cosmo and restrain Michelle. Bradbury shoots the Neurocaster, holding Michelle, and tells her to go home before leaving. The next morning, the group finds the mall in ruins with most robots destroyed. Cosmo is taken to Central Labs to reunite with Christopher's body. Ethan connects Cosmo to the system, but Bradbury, feeling betrayed, realizes Cosmo isn't just a robot. Ethan insists sacrifice is necessary for progress. At the mall, John encourages Michelle to keep fighting and offers his help. Michelle checks Amherst's computer, finding exit codes and Seattle lab info. It warns disconnecting Christopher will shut down the Neurocaster system and center. Peanut reminds Michelle of the peace treaty, but she argues the mall attack nullifies it. Using abandoned trucks, Michelle, John, and surviving robots head for Seattle. Herman finds a giant suit and smashes the Central Lab's windows, forcing Ethan to deploy soldiers. John and Herman lead soldiers away, while Michelle and Amherst's computer sneak inside. During the escape, a Neurocaster self-destructs, damaging Herman's suit. When a soldier tackles John, Herman reveals a second suit inside the first and saves him so they can keep running. Once far enough, other robots join the fight, seen by Bradbury on cameras. An angry Ethan rushes to his office, puts on a secret helmet to control a special Neurocaster, and joins the battle, easily taking down most robots. In the main lab, Amherst's computer pretends to be a violent robot scaring scientists away. Michelle confirms Christopher is alive but needs a Neurocaster to talk to him. Outside, Bradbury tells Peanut where to find Ethan, calling Ethan less human than robots, then disconnects his own Neurocaster, quitting the war. Michelle puts on a helmet and enters her last Christmas memory with Christopher. He explains his body is weak and disconnecting him will kill him, but he wants release, urging her to do it. Meanwhile, Ethan destroys Herman's final suit. John rushes to help, but it's too late. Peanut finds Ethan and wants to renegotiate the treaty. In the lab, Michelle refuses to disconnect Christopher, not wanting to lose him again. Christopher says he hasn't felt anything in years and can't be saved, but others need help. Tearfully, Michelle says goodbye, returns and disconnects him. All Neurocasters go down and robots celebrate victory. John mourns Herman, whose head opens to reveal a tiny robot inside. Chaos erupts worldwide as computers fail. News exposes Centra's experiments on a human child. Ethan is arrested, and people demand the exclusion zone be dismantled. In the desert, John and robots help Michelle make a video urging people to remove helmets and enjoy life. Meanwhile, Cosmo is thrown in the trash, but his head suddenly moves. In a world where the line between human and machine fades, the fight for freedom continues. Michelle's story shows us that even in the darkest moments, hope and family endure. So, what would you do if your very identity was at stake? If this story made you think, like and subscribe to stay tuned for more. And tell me, would you fight to reclaim your humanity or accept a new way of life? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.